Welcome to Elevate Outdoors, and I just want to take a second to talk about another trend that's becoming ever more popular. I've had it on my boat, and this is the forward-facing sonar package here. So we've got the transducer. This is the Simrad forward-facing, all right? Got a special mount. We'll talk about that here in a second. But then also mounted a 12-inch screen. This is a Simrad NSS 12 Evo 3 up front to run this off, and it's networked to all the units at the dash. So I want to just talk about what does this transducer, like why would you want this transducer? What does it do? So first off, I was able to find this cornfield crappie mount, and it has worked great. It fit great with the Minn Kota Ulterra. Fit right in that slot. It stayed tight all the time. That was one thing I was really worried about. Now I've got it actually mounted to the trolling motor, and on the trolling motor I have the foot pedal. So just like a bass boat, I can run down and keep my hands free. I'm not having to mess with the remote. I've got my hands free to fish, but I'm working it with the foot pedal. So I'm actually scanning with my foot looking. So that's why I mounted it directly on the trolling motor rather than having a secondary mount where you might mount it on a pole or something like that, that you could use a hand to do it. I'm able to use my foot to actually scan. And so this cornfield crappie has worked really, really good. I've tightened it up every now and then, but basically it just runs all the way up, and this is the 72-inch Minn Kota, so the shaft's long, but you got plenty of cord here. There's a top bracket that is just right underneath the head, and then I ran the cord back down so the transducer is running into the box, which then is going networked into the graph from there. So we'll go over more of the mounting at a later date, but I just want to talk about the importance. Like, why would you want this type of setup here? And where do I use it? Love it, especially love it for trout fishing. Absolutely love it for that. You're finding bait, you can see bait out in front of you, ahead of you, especially if you're using your side scan, you're going down and you can see the fish located, but a lot of times in the winter, I'm fishing tighter creeks that as you get to the back of the creeks, they're getting tighter. So before you run over those fish, you're actually able to see them on that transducer ahead of time, and you're making those casts out in front of you before you run over them. I use it a ton in the summer just finding bait. It's really cool. You can see your net going down on the screen, but you can locate that bait. And honestly, I use it a ton in the early part of the summer, almost late spring, when that bait's a little bit harder to find. It might not be popping, you might not see it on the surface as well, but you can see it on the forward facing, and then you know where it's at and you're netting it and so forth. So you can actually find, I found bait where other people have just kept running around, weren't able to find it. With that, you can see it on the screen and actually hit it. Love it near shore fishing over the reefs. There's nothing like seeing a reef donkey, amberjack, come up and nail it. I've used it cobia fishing also, where those fish just show up great on the screen. So it's just another method of scouting. It's going to become ever more popular, especially when you're over structure. It's pretty daggone exciting when you can see it. I've used it topwater fishing for amberjack over those reefs where you can see them, and you can see them start to explode. It's nothing like that whatsoever. I mean, it's just absolutely awesome. So it's a technique that's going to become more popular as these bay boats start to learn how they're going to use forward-facing, all the new forward-facing technology that's out there that's geared towards saltwater, the more powerful transducers that are covering more water. So just look for more information coming, but that is a option that here at Elevate we're going to continue to add and want to educate on, and have that that we're going to discuss and talk to you about as you start to rig out your fishing boat.